Welcome, everybody. How are you doing today? I really hope that all of you are doing well. I'm so very happy to speak with you, to have you here. And it looks like we have all gotten more used to this new normal, which is a masked new normal. And of course, there are still many challenges and continuous changes going on. And of course, that is bound to bring up things for us. And I just want to reassure us again that everything that arises is okay. That's always like that. And also to make sure we understand that wrongness, whenever there is a sense of wrongness, this is wrong, I'm wrong, this is not supposed to be here, this is not how it's supposed to be, that wrongness really is the symptom of the past. And so, we want to learn to recognize that and not go there. And instead, really focus and keep learning and learn even more how to be present to what is. Because we can meet everything here. Of course, we need discrimination for that, like recognizing wrongness for what it is, or recognizing the stories, the repetitious stories of the mind, like how the mind is pulling you back into, experience, into story, into past. And instead, we want to learn to just be here with what is, just meet what arises here. And so presence, our true nature, is already here. It's always here. It's not something that, comes and goes. So you can know that at any given moment. And you can, of course, check on that right now also. And I'm inviting you right now in this moment to check on that. Because we can always come back here. It's so key in knowing. We just had this little program for returning students, about I was speaking about how everything arises in presence. Of course, everything arises in presence. And I also often speak in the programs about the nervous system and brain, about trauma, and really about the role of the nervous system in awakening, embodiment, and freedom. Because other than our ability to just come and directly know presence, we also need a capacity to be here. And so that, that nervous system information is so often a missing link between our desire for truth, where we want truth, we want to know what truth is, and between our actual ability to be here. Because so often, because of the events of the past, our capacity to be here is impaired. Our capacity to experience what arises. When I say just be here or just experience what is, right? Or just be present to what is. The question often arises how, how to do that, right? And that's why I speak about this in programs. And that's why we are learning skills about, understanding the nervous system, how to be here, how to help the nervous system and brain to be here. And also about trauma. Because so often, when we sit together in programs, when we sit together in private sessions, and of course, when you sit on your own with what is, we encounter the effects of trauma in our nervous system. And sometimes we just really don't recognize it for what it is. And also don't know how to be present to it, what to do. Some of the effects of the trauma past are, for example, reactivity that is out of proportion to what's happening in a moment. That will be a symptom of trauma past, right? Also, when things are going well, relatively well, and then out of nowhere, so to speak, everything changes, and there's that spiral in a very negative direction. We could say in this very kind of, everything is wrong and everything is challenging, and nothing is going to ever get better. That's also an effect of an impaired nervous system, an effect of trauma also, right? Also, in general, sensitivity, right? Sensitivity to sound, to light, to people, to events, when we have a lot of sensitivity in the nervous system, that can be an effect of trauma also, right? And so, when I speak about this, when I speak about the nervous system, when I speak about the brain, when I speak about the trauma, I'm speaking about it in the context of presence. I'm speaking about it as the missing link to our ability to be here that is really so essential for awakening, embodiment, and freedom. And so when we understand more what trauma is, when we can recognize the effects of it, when we can learn how to work with the impaired nervous system so that the nervous system can regain some of its resilience rather than so automatically going into fight, flight, freeze, overwhelm, collapse, which so often that's a challenge in your practice, right? Past arises and there's so much present. There's so many things going on, mental, physical, emotional. Don't quite know where to put your attention. Just being here doesn't quite work. And so, it's so key to know how to do this, right? How to be present here, how to address this nervous system, and how to really work with the effects of trauma, and trauma is not just, past events, right? It's not just, and really the definition of it is not even past events. It's really the charge that remains in your nervous system in the face of the past events. But trauma is also what's often happening right now, right? There's so many challenging things happening and so many changes, and that can result in, higher activation in the nervous system, and that can result in, again, in challenges to our ability to be here. And why is that ability to be here so essential for awakening, embodiment, and freedom? Because it is our attachment to the past that really stops us from being here. And so if we cannot be present to what arises, if we always either engage with what arises or try to suppress what arises, then, how can we come to awakening, embodiment, and freedom, right? How can we really be present to what is? So I will be speaking about this in our upcoming 3-week program, also about awakening, also about how the current events are affecting our ability to be here. And as always, there will be lots of time for sharing, for dialogue, for practice. And of course, I will be sharing a lot of information, and we will be very practical about this. We'll be really exploring this together. And I want to invite you to join me. And I also want to say, if you are enjoying this video, if you have enjoyed other videos, please subscribe to us on YouTube. So just another moment of silence here, silence, presence, recognizing presence that is already here. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all or hearing you all in our program very soon.